applicants are looking around for various programs and trying to see which ones are the right fit. I'm hoping that he or she takes that step, takes that leap to really share their story with us, and that we be able to listen, and that they really truly figure out whether we are a family for them.
The most surprising part about residency so far has been honestly how much I enjoy it.
You understand when people get along and help each other out, and I could feel that here. Like immediately I knew that.
If you want to train at a place where you know that you're going to get the quality of education that you need to be a good doctor, but you want to do it in a place where you feel like safe and loved and appreciated, then here's where.
The work is hard, but everybody's trying to make sure that you are okay. So everybody's trying to look out for you, to look out for your well-being. And that was very interesting.
I did orientation with this idiot. And it's been, we're homies ever since.
Yeah.
I was looking for 3 things in the residency program when I initially was applying. I wanted to feel the love. I wanted to feel the family aspect of everything. And I wanted location, and I also wanted the learning.
The environment is very scholar, very friendly, and it's very pure environment where you don't feel threatened and you feel like in your house and family. Right now I'm new here in this town and I feel like I'm home in the hospital.
It really just feels like home. It's a big family, from the residents that are in your class to across the different classes, so the residents both above and below you depending on where you're at in your training, and then additionally with the faculty.
I just noticed the camaraderie between the residents and the fellows and the chiefs, and it just felt like everyone in the program really does care about the well-being of the residents alongside the training.
I had good vibes during my interview process, but I was not expecting the overall really positive environment that's here. That's really helped grow me as a person. It's helped develop me into, I think, a really good physician.
You're not afraid to say something wrong. I think that's the most important, because a lot of times we're afraid to say something wrong, and of course you're a certain standard as a medical student. Here it's all about okay, you don't know this? Okay, no, let's address it and get better and learn.
It's a comfortable learning environment because people allow you to make mistakes. They allow you to ask questions, and I'm someone who asks a lot of questions. So this is a really great place for me that people, aren't annoyed by that, but take it as, opportunities to learn.
If you come here or just looking at University of Cincinnati, you'll hear about the growth mindset more often than not. But it's really pushed me to really change my perspective going into day to day.
The whole growth mindset, which we talk about all the time here, it's like really everyone believes in that, like that truly you can learn so much, and that if you get something wrong the first time, that's totally fine. You just learn from it, you grow from it.
An important part about being a doctor is being a lifelong learner, and that is very intentionally taught here, which is vital, I think, for a resident to learn early on.
It was the first program that seemed like they wanted you to succeed as much as you wanted to succeed, and it seemed like everyone around you also felt that way.
I think I just really feel valued and appreciated here, and I feel like I have space to learn and grow as well, which is really important. I think embracing the growth mindset is something I've really learned to just embrace while I've been here.
One of the most incredible things about this residency is truly us embracing the growth mindset and the diversity of patients we get to take care of, and those two coming together in a way that just creates an incredible learning opportunity.
We get to see a lot of interesting pathology from Southern Ohio, from Northern Kentucky, from Eastern Indiana, so that's been really amazing.
We have some really great bread and butter cases that you see on the wards, but then some zebras that you think you would only read about. And it just speaks a lot about kind of the size of our program, but also kind of the encatchment area.
ICU at University Hospital is pretty aggressive. We have lots of sick patients, lots of pathology coming in and out all the time, and our residents work really hard. They work side by side with us. I think one of the strengths of our critical care training here at University of Cincinnati is that we have a wonderful system of graduated autonomy. We really trust our residents, but that said, we're side by side working with them all the time. We've got fellows and attendings in-house 24/7, talking through patients, talking through critical care, talking through resuscitation, side by side with the residents all the time. I'm actually on my way in to work a night shift with a couple residents tonight. I'm really looking forward to it.
One thing that really surprised me here is the autonomy you have as a resident. Even starting at intern year, you have a lot of trust from your attendings to do the right thing and make decisions, and your opinion matters on rounds. And then as a senior resident, your decisions really do start to matter, and your attendings just show you this level of trust that I don't think you get at other programs that you do get here.
Now that you're in residency, and even as an intern, like you're actually making legit changes to people's lives. Like you're making actual decisions that can impact them. And so you're taking into account a lot more things. So that kind of adds a little bit of excitement to the job. It's like, you know, what I'm doing matters.
My plan was to go far away, and I cast my net wide and kind of looked at a lot of different programs. And then as I was going to all the different programs, I would go and I'd listen to their program director talk that they give, and every time I'd hear their program director talk, I would think, well, that's interesting, but I think we do that better at UC.
The fact that the medical education here is evidence-based is really unique. And I think that's like, what better way to learn how to become a doctor than to do it by evidence? We do our medicine by evidence. Why shouldn't we learn by evidence too?
Medical education, which is one of my passions, is something that is absolutely huge here. Honestly, I would say it's one of this program's MOs.
The med ed theory of this program is really compelling, and the way in which they integrate adult learning theory into the actual structure of the residency in a way that it's not left up to you in your free time to learn things.
And I really like the scientific approach to adult learning, and something that's more of a collaborative effect than we're doing this because I said so.
The people who are invested in your training and your growth are actually extremely good at what they do.
I don't think I interviewed at any one place that felt so intentional about how it was going to help train us to be as good as we possibly could. The amount of data collected on the residents is astounding. The dedication to each resident's growth is something I did not see anywhere else.
The most important thing was how evidence-based and data-driven the program is. Dr. Warm and the rest of the program leadership really take education seriously here.
It was the only program that ever showed me any data about what effect residents actually had on patients. It was a run chart, and it had A1Cs for patients in the resident clinic, going back years, month-to-month data about what was going on with residents' patients. And this program showed me, by showing me this graph, they said we actually know what happens when residents take care of patients, and we care about it, and we want to make it better.
There's a lot of data being collected on just how well we're taking care of patients, how well we're progressing, and what the residents are doing. And that is something that I've been really pleasantly surprised by, because we use that data for improvement.
Something I really value about this residency in particular is like the thoughtfulness that goes into how they design education, how they evaluate residents.
And going through different websites looking at residency programs, UC was the only one that really went in on letting you know how and why they do things, and then they backed it up with data. So not only did they say, we have academic half day, but then they showed, when we started doing academic half day, we started measuring these data points, and then after it showed that we had improvement here.
We have some of the greatest medical educators here. People that focus all their research, a lot of their time is spent on medical education, research and outcomes.
It's been really cool to get involved with research at UC, and it was really easy to get involved.
All the attendings are really willing for you to get on research projects and join them, whether it's their lab or what they're doing clinically.
A big part of my job is helping the residents be successful in their research projects. To do this, we help them find a mentor. We're very fortunate here at UC where we have a lot of mentors in all the subspecialty areas. And if we have difficulty finding one here at UCMC, we can always send them across the street to Children's to find a mentor over there.
Dr. Hambley actually in the weekly scoop put a little blurb in about wanting to see if someone would want to join his project on mantle cell lymphoma, which is a pretty rare form of lymphoma. So I've been working with him.
I work in the laboratory of Dr. Donald Lynch. He's an interventional cardiologist here at UC and also a physician scientist. I'm working mostly on a project to develop biomarkers for coronary artery disease among diabetic populations. This has kind of expanded on some of my skill sets that I developed in getting my MPH.
We are investigating the thromboinflammation pathways with platelets on persons that undergo transcatheter valve interventions, right? Such as transcatheter aortic valve replacements and mitral clips.
I chose this program because I think it's the best program for my future goals, my career goals, which is to become a physician scientist. From experiences that friends have had at other programs where they're thrown directly into the mix, they have overwhelming patient schedules and they're kind of used as a part of a machine. I don't think that's the case here. At every turn, there's been somebody to help me out if I get into a bind or I'm in a position where I don't know exactly what to do.
The coaching program is another really unique characteristic of this residency program. We have been for many years collecting all kinds of amazing assessment data to really try to drill down and identify how our residents are doing, but not from a summative perspective, from a perspective of trying to actually help them improve. And a few years ago, we realized that we needed to get that information in the hands of all of our residents to really help them improve, and we developed the coaching program. It's actually just like it sounds. If you had a violin coach, or if you had a ballet coach, or a football coach, coaches are there to help you improve, but they're not mentors, right? They're actually using data, or they're using kind of their own observation to help you actually improve.
They're not a mentor. The mentor is completely different, and the mentor is someone that you're gonna stay with throughout residency and possibly beyond, kind of focused in on your career plans. But the coach is someone that is kind of on the ground, very familiar with the things that interns are going through, the ups and downs, whether it's work or managing life outside of work.
During my intern year, there's a coaching program, which I felt has really helped me become a better doctor.
So we have a huge focus on promoting your development as a learner, not just as a clinician, and that I think is a huge draw of the program.
I graduated from Cincinnati for medical school, and one of the reasons I even chose internal medicine was because of our program. And the residents that I met in medical school, they treated me as a part of the team, even as a medical student, which is such a valuable part of being a medical student, I think, to enhance your learning and to feel valued every single day. When I was looking at programs for residency, that was the kind of vibe I was going for, is I wanted to recreate that for all of residency, and I obviously knew I'd be able to do that in Cincinnati.
I think you're going to get a great education here. I think everybody here is really concerned about your learning, and they want to make sure that you get the best education with patient care and then with the academic half day.
Academic half day in my first year was amazing. I mean, you spend an afternoon learning in a group that you get closer with as the year goes on. You give your pager to your senior, they do all the admissions and answer all the pages, and I can just focus on learning, which is honestly really fun.
It's kind of a time where we don't really have to worry about our patients for a couple hours, and that we can really just focus on education and learning more about a specific disease process.
You know your pager is going to be covered by your senior. That's like a sacred time. You know you're going to be able to see your intern, your co-interns and co-residents that day, and just kind of have time just to forget about answering pages and just focus on learning, which I loved.
So I think it's a really, really cool way to learn. I think you retain the information a lot better when you're learning a concept in the context of patient care. So then you can then go out onto the wards and apply what you learned.
I chose to stay at UC for a bunch of reasons. One, I just loved the environment. It's a really fun environment to work in. I love the camaraderie among the residents, and just that it's a really supportive environment. One thing I also love about it is patient-centered rounds. That was something that I didn't really get on other rotations. Just the emphasis on the patient is really the most important aspect of this care because it's true.
Patient-centered rounds works whereby you do everything for the patient in the room at their level.
It was something that was totally new to me because that's not how my med school did it at all. Essentially, to break it down into simple terms, this is just involving the patients in your rounding from day to day. How it really works is you explain everything to the patients without really using any medical jargon in a language that they can understand. Now, this is done mainly to involve them in their own care, but also to explain really complex things that us as doctors kind of forget and ignore, that everyone else doesn't really come from the same background that we now have.
I think you have really awesome relationships with the patients that come here through patient-centered rounds, and I think because you also see all the patients on your team and not just the ones that you're directly caring for, you get a lot more education that way.
I really liked the unique concept of the long block. For me, that was what was a huge draw for me because I was very much interested in primary care, still am, and wanted to be able to have a full investment time in the program. That was really important to me.
So once you become a second-year resident in our program, you begin this quest of outpatient medicine. You inherit a panel of about 150 patients who then call you their primary care doctor.
Long block starts every November and the second year class transitions to be long blockers. You receive a panel of patients from a previous long blocker and then you take over as their primary care physician.
We do 3 half-day clinics a week. And it's awesome. You get to see patients. If you want to have them come back in 2 weeks, you'll get to see them.
During this time, we develop the ability to triage problems outpatient, get really efficient doing outpatient stuff because we ramp up a lot quicker than I think probably other programs do. We're sometimes seeing, at most like 9 patients in a half day, which is quite a lot. And we are good at it by now because we've just been doing it all year.
I feel like long block has been the most rewarding part of residency that I've experienced. It's the time that I've felt the most ownership over the care that my patients receive and have really kind of grown into that doctor role in a way that I really wasn't expecting and has been incredibly rewarding.
So because the patients know you, because they are able to relate to you because of the relationship you've built with them, it's easier for them to trust you. And when the patient trusts you, it's easier for them to kind of form a team with you to be able to help solve their problems for them. So that's one thing that I think long block is different from any other model that you see across the country.
I've had to recognize my own privilege a lot in these situations and the unimaginable circumstances that my patients have gone through, and really, recognize their experience and their own expertise in their own lives.
I think for me, one of the most rewarding things in terms of long block, I would say the majority of our patients are Black, and seeing how they react when they get a Black physician for the first time has been something that's been super rewarding for me. And I've had some patients say like, having me as their physician has been like a great experience because they get to have a physician that looks like them.
In addition to the other initiatives that we have that make this residency program so special, we were really fortunate to welcome a more diverse incoming PGY1 class filled with academic excellence and humanism.
How diverse our class is, how many people from the different parts of the country and different parts of the world I can see here, and how enriching this experience can be. I learned so much from my friends here.
One thing that stood out to me about Cincinnati was how supportive they were of couples matching, and they were really responsive to me and my partner about our scheduling our vacations together, trying to coordinate our night shifts so we could be on nights at the same time, which was really nice.
Our residents are amazing as people, just really good people.
Really one of the surprising things, and one of the things I didn't even know I was looking for in a residency, was really the culture within the program and between the different residents, starting at the top with senior residents and even outside the program with the fellows. There seems to be a great atmosphere and a great culture, people that want to help each other.
I grew up in Cincinnati, but I left for quite a bit and actually did med school in Hawaii, and coming to Cincinnati at UC, they have a little bit of that aloha, I guess, which is kind of cheesy, but everyone's really kind here.
here. When I've made mistakes, people have been very gracious, very open to really teaching, and I guess that shouldn't unfortunately be a surprising thing, but I think it's been a welcome. It's just been a welcome thing for me.
It felt very welcoming. Like they didn't feel like they would be judgmental to me. You know, if I came in and I might have not known something or not done this thing as well, it's like, hey, we're gonna help you get where you need to go.
You're gonna hear this a lot on the interview trail, but everyone's gonna say it comes down to the people. And I heard that the first few places I interviewed, and I was like, yeah, like I agree, like working alongside people that you really like and care about is a big deal. But this was the first place I interviewed where I could see that through a computer screen. And since I've been here, it has felt the exact same as it did on my interview day.
I go through periods where I'm definitely feeling stressed out because, you know, it's challenging. You have a lot of like emotional struggles as well in the hospital, a lot of very difficult cases from an emotional standpoint. And I really think without like the support of like my coach, my family, and like my co-residents, being able to hang out with them and vent, like it wouldn't be possible.
There are so many times where during residency you have life hit you in the face, or your health goes in, you know, you need to take care of your health. And I have gotten unwavering support to be able to do that. Mental health is taken very seriously at our program. I can't express how important that is in a program.
If you have a passion for education, if you have a passion for working with difficult, very sick patients, and you want to work with people who are just genuinely good and pleasant to work with, I think that UC it should be at the top of your list.
It's a place that values patient-centeredness, it values humanity, growth mindset, improvement. If we don't have it, we want you to help us build it.
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. If you had told me then that I would be a resident physician in Ohio, I would have told you lost your mind. Had my interview, and just the ambiance and the vibe that everybody gave off was just like so inviting and just so warm.
If you want to be at a program that will do everything in its power to help you become what you can be and reach your potential with support and dedication along the way, with a commitment to learning, and a great group of residents as well. This is hands down the program for you.
It makes me feel a lot more comfortable knowing that, you know, I have this big community around me and I'm here to learn and take care of patients.
I'm really thankful I ended up here because that culture is really strong in Cincinnati.
Very lucky and grateful to be here.